Hey everyone, I just want to do a quick video about a book I released. It's available on Amazon, and here's the print that I got. It's called Ekphrasm, and the subtitle is Poems on French Painters, Paintings, and Natures. So it has 61 poems in here. I started it took about 14 months to write. The paperback is really nice. I did what I could. Again, it's an Amazon printing, but I went through and I tried to clean as much up as I could. I made sure I indented enough this time. What I didn't like with my old collection, which I'll talk about in a second, is that it was a little too much on the margin here, which it's still very readable. You just have to pull it. But so if you're new to my channel, I'm a writer. I fiction and poetry and essays. Do a lot of essays right now. But so this, as I said, Ekphrasm, basically ekphrastic paintings. So they're all on French painters. Every single poem, though, is not on a French painter, but every painter that is discussed is a French painter. The cover here is Paul Cézanne, La Forêt, and many of these paintings are about Cézanne. He's sort of the star of the book, but I have Monet and Manet, I have Gauguin mentioned, I have Degas, Pissarro, all the main Impressionist guys who were overlooked. And so one of the things I noticed in this book, and I mention in this introduction, is that I only realized after having written it that they all the topics deal with someone at one point who is overlooked. And how do I phrase it? So I noticed a theme only afterwards, wherein most, if not all, subjects were at one time overlooked or rejected. Now, there's a recurring character who appears. He doesn't appear in every poem, but his name is Landon. He's a painter. And so that's why you'll see this name pop up. You'll say, who the hell is Landon? Well, he's a painter who's studying the paintings. And I first wanted to write maybe a novel, and I wanted to make it on a young painter who maybe was interested in Cézanne, and that was my intention before I even started. But I felt like I just couldn't do prose at that point. I had just finished my Joan of Arc novella, which was highly poetic, and coming off of that, I just didn't know really how to approach it. So I felt the impetus to write poetry again, and I wrote a poem, and then I enjoyed it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in this direction. So this is what I mean, you gotta go where you feel it. And so there's 61 poems in here. Oh, Renoir, he's another one who's mentioned. Bonnard, but also there's, as I said, a lot of people in here mentioned that have been overlooked. So I actually have a poem in here on Maya Deren. I have one on Vivian Maier. I have one on the Swedish painter Hilma af Klint. Vivian Maier is the photographer who was discovered after her death. I have another one on Francesca Woodman. And then I have a number of poems involving sort of observations in nature, and I got that from, I have a series of cacophony poems about observations with birds, and so there's a lot in here. Oh, there's Kabiria. She has to say hello. Now, where could I have planned that? She's fine. But yeah, so paperback is going for $6.99, and the ebook is $4.99. If you're able to get this delivered, I've heard that for some reason, someone in Ireland tried to buy the physical book and they couldn't get it delivered, so he had to get the ebook. the Kindle. If you can get this, I make more money on the Kindle. Again, it's not about making money, but I always like people to buy the physical copy. And this book, Word Shapes, is my first collection. Now this is much thicker. This is selected poems, 99 to 2009. And as I said, I have since made this a little more readable. It's exactly the same book, I just indented it. Like I said, I never liked that it was so inward. Again, I'm not a book publisher, but it's still a very good quality, and now when you get it, it'll resemble more this indentation. So this book is $10.99 paperback, $8.99 for Kindle. Now it's a bit more pricey. Well, one thing is it's about 100 and just under 170 pages. There's a lot of poems in here. So also with charging $10.99, my reasons for doing that are really because this book is thicker. I actually only make a couple dollars royalty off that. I'm not pocketing $10.99. I mean, Amazon gets most of it, the shipping costs. So I get a couple bucks. If I lowered the price, I would probably only get like less than $1 royalty, which again, I don't do it for the money, but because this is such a huge work in my body of work, that I felt, I feel like it's worth the price. And this being more current, you might notice an evolution between the two types of poems. Of course you're going to see a growth. This book is a little more focused in the sense that it is all on one kind of subject. This is a poetry book, whereas this is a poetry collection. So there are small poems in here that are maybe a little tighter than what they used to be. But again, this is 99 to 2009, and this is more recent. But there's still a lot of great ones in here that are kind of my signature poems, and this is the cover. This is Monet's Wild Poppies. It has several different names. I just call it Wild Poppies because that's the title of my poem based on this painting, public domain image. Paul Cézanne, public domain image. Makes it very nice. So anyway, I just want to let you all know that. But if there's anything that I can answer, any questions, I don't like any book I write to be rigid, so there's a lot of flow in here. There's a lot of organic movement. I wasn't going to just piece it out, and I'm not going to cover every painting, obviously. There's some that I overlooked or didn't write about just because it just didn't happen. I wrote about what inspired me, but a lot of the poems, I will say, are on Cézanne. And of all the painting poems, most of them are on Cézanne, but like I said, I have Manet and cover some of his famous works. I don't do Luncheon on the Grass. I kind of wish I had done that, but I mean, again, it just didn't work out, so who knows. This is, the trees are naked, so like some of these have nature references. They're just what came to me. And then I have one here. I wrote in my recent essay that I did on the Tarkovsky film, Ivan's Childhood. I reference a poem that I wrote about the war in Ukraine, and it was actually a poem that I intended to be about this painting, and I couldn't come up with an idea. It was the idea was it was kind of nebulous. The poem just felt limp to me, so it wasn't working. So then I kept imagining this painting, and I said, what can I think about somebody buried behind there? And my thoughts go morbid, you know. And I was thinking, is there someone hiding behind here? Is there, would they be hiding? Are they dead? Or, and I said, and so I started thinking about. At the time I wrote it, the war in Ukraine had just, you know, erupted, and so that was on my mind, and so I made this painting and connected it to that, but there's no reference to the painting, it's just the poem. But again, that's how, you know, ideas work. It's not just one, you know, linear progression or anything. So again, if I can answer any questions, this is $6.99 for the paperback. Not bad. Nice paperback. $4.99 ebook. Word Shapes is still $10.99 for this. $8.99 for the ebook. I fixed the inside, as I said. It'll have a little bit more room, but still highly readable. But you won't have to deal with that anymore. But anyway, just wanted to make that known. And yeah, that's all I got. So thank you for listening, and I hope you check them out.